Hello everyone, ex-Wallkill Bethelite here. And let's get into this submission thing again about JW men. And when I said that they were primarily bitches, I'm talking about the men. I'm not talking about the kids that were raised JW and then left. I'm not talking about the men who aren't JW because they left and then some of their family are still going. I'm talking about men who are JW, who attend the Kingdom Hall, that expect women. See, here's the whole thing, is women are supposed to be submissive in regards to Jehovah's Witness marriages and relationships and men. But what is the reason for a woman to be submissive to a man? Is it because he's a good leader? Is it because he's the protector of the family? No, it's simply because he's a Jehovah Witness. So a lot of men join this religion and other religions because they're weak, and a woman would not follow them. A woman would not be submissive to them unless it is in the rules of the religion that they follow. What is the reason a lot of Jehovah's Witness women are submissive to their particular husband? Because Watchtower says they're supposed to be. Even though that's something that should happen naturally. A person who's a leader, a person who is ahead of a family, ahead of anything, would naturally gain respect, would naturally gain people around them that were willing to follow their lead because they're leading them in the right direction. For men who are Jehovah's Witness, a lot of these men know ain't no woman gonna follow them unless they're a Jehovah's Witness. Ain't no woman gonna follow them unless this woman is a member of a cult that tells her she has to. So this is going along the same theme of Jehovah's Witness men being weak, being bitches, being very weak men. Because one of the reasons why they're there is it's the only place they're going to find women that's going to be submissive to them. Another rule in this religion is that you are not allowed to study things outside of what Watchtower tells you to study. Which means there are grown, quote unquote, we use the word men because the word I use is bitches, but I want to say that throughout the entire video. Quote unquote grown men who are supposed to be the leaders of their family are not allowed to do research outside of what Watchtower tells them. They are allowed to do research on, or tools that they're allowed to do research with. How are you going to tell a grown man you allowed to study this, you allowed to study that? How you going to tell a grown man you ain't allowed to go to a wedding if it's inside of a church? You ain't allowed to go to this, you ain't allowed to do, you need to check with me. There was an article, and the question in the article in the Watchtower Awake was, if I work as a plumber, am I allowed to do plumbing in a church? Think about this. Is there a possibility that an organization is going to be able to tell grown men what they're allowed and not allowed to do research on, and have these men so weak and so dependent on Watchtower for everything that someone actually asked the question if they're allowed to work on plumbing if it's inside of a church? The writing is on the wall. Every bit of evidence you have in regards to an organization telling men if they're allowed to have facial hair. A grown man, this is who these women are marrying. Men who are so submissive that there's Watchtower articles on if they're allowed, and they have to read these things to figure out if they're allowed to do things or not. Am I allowed to do electrical work if the electrical job is inside of a church? There's men who actually are asking this, supposed men. There's no man that you're going to be able to just tell every little thing. There's no man you're going to be able to direct in every little minute detail of his life unless he's weak. There's no way around it. A person is either a strong head of a family or they are not. One of the things I noticed when I came back from Bethel, keep in mind I'm young, almost just basically, you know, a young adult coming back from Bethel. I'm shocked by what I saw, the racism, the things that went on. And the people that I talked to when I got back primarily were men, supposed men. You know, I remember talking to my stepdad, and he knows me. So he's saying, wow, word for word, I know you're not lying. I know you. I know you wouldn't lie about anything in regards to Bethel, because Bethel was your life. I know you're telling me the truth. But wow, maybe you should talk to someone else about it. This is my stepdad. This is our supposed family head that you go and you talk to about the things that were going on at Bethel. And he's well, let me give you the name of somebody else to talk to about this. I kid you not. Let me pass the puck. This is too heavy for me. These men are not real men. They're weak. They're extremely weak. How else is Watchtower going to rule the lives of every family in the Kingdom Hall? If there was a strong man that was a leader, that was a head of his family, he wouldn't need somebody to tell him whether he could have facial hair or not. This is insane. So comment down below, let me know what you think. We'll talk about it more. There was an article about the quote-unquote man, another one of these Jehovah's Witnesses, that people, you know, another one of these Jehovah's Witnesses that were going door to door and looking for younger girls to prey on. So they actually did an article on it, and that's good. That's good to get that out in the community, because the men at the Kingdom Hall, quote-unquote men, they're not going to do nothing. They're not going to do nothing. They just send the guy right back out and let him keep doing what he was doing. I seriously doubt this is the first time he did it. I seriously doubt no one knew about it. I seriously doubt no one in that hall knew that there was a 15-year-old girl and this guy was going to go visit him. They just were all too... The men were just too bitch to do anything. They just will let anything happen. They're so submissive. They've been trained to be so submissive to Watchtower, so that unless Watchtower tells them to do it, they ain't going to do it. So, I mean, I know Jehovah's Witness men who their wives run the house. You know what I mean? It's just that it is what it is. And you got all this stuff going on with R. Kelly. I started watching some more of the R. Kelly, Surviving R. Kelly on Netflix. And it's people just accepting others for stupid reasons. So R. Kelly was accepted everywhere because he's rich and because he's famous. You know, people can kind of understand how that could happen, but this is how a predator got around a lot of girls. It's because this man was accepted simply based off of money and stature. This is the same thing with Jehovah's Witnesses. How do a lot of these pedophiles get around these kids? Because they're accepted simply because they're Jehovah's Witnesses. How does man get around this 15-year-old girl? Because he's a Jehovah's Witness, he go to door and you know. That's how a lot of these pedophiles get around these kids and get around these young girls. They're accepted just because they're a Jehovah's Witness. A woman will marry him just because he's a Jehovah's Witness. And then she finds out later he's a pedophile. He beats women. He's a womanizer. He goes outside the marriage. He likes younger girls. He tries to sleep with other people in her family. She finds out all this stuff later. But what was the reason she married him to begin with? Just because he was Jehovah's Witness. People will accept a man based off of just the title of the religion. I'm a Jehovah's Witness. Okay, well, I'll have my kids sleeping over your house now and everything else. So people really need to pay attention to who is coming to their door, knocking on their door. Just because a person says, I'm a Jehovah's Witness, doesn't mean they're not a pedophile. Just because a man raises his hand and repeats something in the Watchtower for a meeting doesn't mean he's not a pedophile, doesn't mean he's not this, doesn't mean he's not that. And the whole title system that Watchtower has as far as being a ministerial servant, that doesn't mean anything. You can carry microphones and still be a pedophile. You can raise your hand and still be a pedophile. These are things people need to know about. And I don't know how I feel about the men. I know how I feel about the men who just let Watchtower run their whole lives and their families. I feel like they're bitches. That let Watchtower tell who they can and cannot speak to in their family. They're bitches. Let Watchtower tell them if they can and cannot work plumbing and electrical in a church. If they're, you know, allowed to have a beard, they're just bitches. That's all there is to it. It's not funny, but it is funny. It's Texas. It's hot, man. It is hot. It is hot. I'm in Texas. But I don't know how I feel about the men who know Watchtower is false. They don't go to meetings because they know Watchtower is false. They know Watchtower is rampant with pedophiles. But they let their kids go. They let their wife take their kids. If she wants to go, let her go. But you going to let her take your kids around a bunch of pedophiles? Explain this to me. 937-789-4029. I've been working a lot, so I haven't been able to answer the phone as much. But comment down below. Let me know what you think. X Walk Hill Best Light signing out.